Good day, this is the Grumpy Baker. Today we're going to get out of our baking kitchen and go into maybe making some soup, a nice tomato soup. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to. So, anyway, let's get out of our comfort zone. But it's not really my comfort zone, it's yours. I've been baking and cooking for my whole life. There is nothing I can't bake and there's nothing I can't cook, so on you. Anyway, so we're going to make a tomato soup, but we're going to do it a little different. I'm going to tell you the ingredients, because if I tried to do it all here in front of you, it would be a couple of hours. Then it'd be boring and then nobody would watch it. So we're going to make it a little easier for you. I'm going to tell you the steps, the amount, and then I'll bring in my stock pot and I'll show you it as it's simmering, and we'll go through the whole point. Okay? So to make a soup that would maybe give you 4 or 5 medium-sized bowls, you need 10 tomatoes. So first you start with the tomatoes. You boil them till they crack. As soon as they crack, you take them out, you put them in cold water for about a minute. Then you can just peel them as if it just peels right off. Okay, then you cut the tomato in half and take the seeds out. That's a very important part. But you won't get them all. I mean, that happens. You're not going to get all the seeds, but try to get as many as you can. As soon as you get the seeds out, now what you do is you cut a half an onion, 2 cloves of garlic, grind them up. If you got a grinder, grind them up. If you don't, well, chop them up the best you can. Put in a tablespoon of butter. Butter, very important. Butter will add taste to the soup after, as well as it will saute the onions and the garlic together. So you take and you put it in the pot. You get the butter cooking, so you can see it starting to boil, almost turn brown. Throw the onions and the garlic in and saute. They will turn brown, and what will happen is as the soup is boiling and simmering, going through all the stages, the onions break down. And they dissolve right into the soup. It's very, very good. So once you have that done, then you take the tomatoes and you can mash them with with a potato masher. You can grind them with a little spin grinder. You can do whatever you want. You can cut them into cubes and smash them. Then you put them in a pot. Okay? You put all the tomatoes in a pot. Once the tomatoes are in the pot, you put in 1.5 cups of either chicken broth or vegetable broth, whichever you prefer. You put that in with the tomatoes. Then you put in 1 teaspoon of oregano, a half a teaspoon of basil, ground up of course, and a half a teaspoon of parsley. You put them in with the tomatoes and the juice, whichever one you prefer, the vegetable or the chicken broth. Or you can make your own. You can, say you're peeling carrots and all your vegetables, except potatoes. Don't use potatoes. They turn everything brown. Take all your peelings, put them on the stove. The broccoli, the cauliflower heads, when you cut out the centers and all the ends, throw that in a big pot, boil it for about 2 hours simmer it for about 2 hours. And with about 3 cups of water. And that'll make a beautiful broth. That's what I do. Now, for the tomatoes, if you want, you can cheat. Go to the store and buy the 28-ounce can of tomatoes, either crushed or cut up into cubes, whichever. It doesn't matter. You can buy whole. It doesn't matter. You can use that instead of the 10 tomatoes. Okay, because some people, they get a little, can I do this? If you don't want to feel yourself being challenged, go to the store, buy a can. What can I say? My recipe I am doing will make probably 14 bowls of soup because, hold on 1 second. Stir that. Sorry, I had my stuff stewing on the stove and had my assistant stir it. What was I saying? See what happens when you get old? You forget what you're talking about. But anyway, so once you can use cans, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay? If you like homemade soup, this is the best way. So once that's on and it's simmering, let it all simmer. Then you take the onions. Once the spices and that have simmered together for like 10 minutes, just so it's mixed in. Then take your onion and garlic, put that in the soup, let it all simmer now for about an hour. Okay, so now you have all your spices. You can put in salt, pepper, depending on what spices you like. You can also put in the red, what are those called? The spicy pepper. You can put in the red pepper flakes, just a little pinch. Don't put in too many or your soup will burn your ass out when you know what I mean. So, now that all that is sitting on the stove, let it simmer for about an hour. Once ours has simmered, I will go and come back and we'll do the second stage. But before I go, what do you think of the Canadian Olympic teams? They're doing pretty good. I think they will. It doesn't matter what. Have you noticed when Canada wins a bronze, silver, no matter what they win, they jump for joy and smiling like shit. Okay? Other countries, they win a bronze and it's like, you're in the Olympics. If you win a bronze, that means you're the third best in the world. What the hell do you got to complain about? Anyways, I think Canada, we're going to get a few more medals. We're not going to do as good as we did in the last Olympics, but hey, it's still Canada. Anyways, I will see you guys in about an hour with stage 2. So now we are adding a bit of cornstarch and water to thicken up our tomato sauce. It's still a sauce. And you have to be careful how much you put in or it'll just turn thick like gravy. Well, you don't want that. It's a soup, not a gravy. So that is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and about 1/3 cup of water. Mix it together. Bring your paste to a boil and then turn it back to low to simmer it. Now that's pretty well the end of it except for the cream. Now, I think I forgot to say how much sugar I put in. That's up to you. It depends on how sweet you want it, or how much acidity your tomatoes have, depending on which kind you use. Romas are the best to use for the tomato soup. Now the last part is the cream. Well, to put the cream in, you should let it cool down for about an hour. Oh, well, maybe not quite an hour, maybe about 40 minutes or so. If it's boiling and you add the cream will curdle, and then you'll go on online and say, listen, dickhead, I just put all that cream in there and it cost me $4. So, instead of doing that, you wait till it cools down, add the cream, and it would be 1 cup of cream, either 18 or whipping cream. But not Cool Whip. Don't buy the stuff that's already whipped, or it'll look like shit and probably taste the same. So you use the liquid 18% cream. That's usually what I use. That's more than enough, and it will give it that creamy taste. So once this thickens and boils for about another 20 minutes or so, we'll come back and finish it with the cream, and I will show you that result. And that should be the end of it. And then you can even let that simmer for another 20 minutes or so all of the spices and everything incorporate with the soup. And as you know, soup or stew or whatever you make is always better the second day, because the spices take time to break down and really consolidate with what you're making. Anyway, and if you notice that I'm sort of speaking with a slur, it's because I went to the dentist yesterday again. Holy shit. They worked on me for about an hour and a half to fix my teeth. But that's what happens when you're old and you don't look after them. Anyway, so my lip's fat. You can't see it because of my mustache. So I'm sort of slobbering a bit. It's a good thing I didn't slobber in my food. Anyway, so we will see you in about 20 minutes or so. Okay, so now we're at the end. And as you can tell, it's very thick once you add it. See, that's what you want. It's like a soup, not a gravy. We're not making tomato gravy. So don't put too much cornstarch. Now, you can also use flour. You don't have to use cornstarch. Any kind of starch. You know, if you're gluten-free, you can use potato starch, Zamarith gum. There's all kinds of starches that you can use to thicken your soup so that you don't have to use flour or cornstarch. So, you know, for all those gluten-free people. So now the stove is off. The stove is off. See? Even I screw up. And it's cooled down a bit. It's stopped boiling. Don't add the cream when it boils, and don't pour it all in at one time. My God, take your time. You got this far without screwing it up, so you may as well take the last step right? So just stir it as you're adding it. Nice and slow. If you go too fast, it still could curdle. Now, I said to use a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup, but I quadrupled the recipe to make my soup. So I need almost 3 cups of cream. So you'll notice it'll start to turn that creamy color. That's what you want. Anyway, just keep adding it slowly. If your arm gets tired, well, get your husband to keep stirring. Or your wife, or whoever the hell's not working. Or whoever's there, is what I meant. So, and as you pour that cream in, it will cool it off more. So once you get all the cream in, you'll probably want to put it back on and just let it simmer for about 30-40 minutes. And that will help bring all the spices together. And also the cream will thicken it even more. So if you think it's not thick enough, wait till you add the cream. Once it's done, if you need more thickener, you can turn the heat up a bit because you've already added the cream, so it won't curdle. You can add a little more thickener or more cream to make it thick. And just keep stirring it for a couple of minutes till it's all stirred in. So now, look at that. You have little chunks of tomato, tomato, spices, and cream. Looks beautiful. And if you don't like this recipe, well, make your own. Who cares? But anyways, that's the end of this show. And don't have a nice day. Bye.